Dale Wilcox, the executive director and general counsel for the Immigration Reform Law Institute. Dale, welcome to Breitbart News Tonight.
Well, thanks for having me.
Dale, there's been some interesting developments since you were last on our program. California, as you've known, for quite some time now in the state, we've gone, full Confederate and have been firing on Fort Sumter and all of that. But now Attorney General Jeff Sessions in the Department of Justice is firing back, trying to get us in, rein us in. What do you make of the news this week of this, fighting back against these sanctuary state policies here?
Well, I'm elated. The feds have finally stepped in to stop the madness in California. As you know, my organization is a not-for-profit law firm, the only such pro-enforcement rule of law on immigration issues law firm in the country. And we actually were going to sue California. I can tell you now, we were preparing a lawsuit ourselves and had more than 10 cities who had signed on. So if the feds hadn't done this, we were going to. We were getting tired of California thumbing its nose at the rest of us. It's good to see the Trump administration is finally going on offense against these lawless open border radicals, as Attorney General Sessions called them the other day.
Now, actually, President Trump also had some harsh words for this mayor of Oakland, California, who basically shouted out a warning to the illegal alien criminals who were about to be deported by Immigration and Custom Enforcement officers who were making a raid in the area. I want to play for you a clip of President Trump's comments about this Oakland mayor today. Let's listen to this clip.
What the mayor of Oakland did the other day was a disgrace, where they had close to 1,000 people ready to be gotten, ready to be taken off the streets. Many of them, they say 85% of them, were criminals and had criminal records. And the mayor of Oakland went out, and she went out and warned them all, scatter. So instead of taking in 1,000, they took in a fraction of that, about 150. And they were all set. This was long in the planning. And she said, get out of here. And she's telling that to criminals. And it's certainly something that we're looking at with respect to her individually. What she did is incredible and very dangerous from the standpoint of ICE and Border Patrol. Very dangerous. She really made law enforcement much more dangerous than it had to be. So we're looking at that situation very carefully.
So, Dale, what do you make of that? Are they going to go after this Oakland mayor? What are they going to do, do you think? What do you think is going to happen here?
Well, I think they should. I think they have a clear case of obstruction of justice, but I would carry it even further. Federal law prohibits harboring of illegal aliens, and you harbor an illegal alien by hiding them, making it easier for them to remain in the United States, and that's essentially what this mayor did. I anticipate seeing the Justice Department go after her.
That would be astonishing. Now, explain to me something. I understand that it is impossible right now for ordinary citizens to sue politicians in California or even localities in California if, for example, an illegal immigrant commits a crime against an individual due to the fact that these politicians have enacted sanctuary city policies, and even due to the fact that they've let these criminals go loose, from not cooperated with ICE officers in picking them up. It's not possible to sue these individuals as private citizens, like take a civil suit or something. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, and it all comes down to standing. Usually, to show standing, you have to show injury. That the defendant's actions caused your injury, and that the court can issue a ruling that will remedy your injury. And usually where it falls is the proximate cause, the causation factor of that, the second point I mentioned. Criminal actions by third parties usually cut off proximate cause. So say this mayor lets someone loose and they go out and they kill someone. Under law, generally, we don't hold third parties liable, even though they let them out of jail, and they should not have, and they turned them over to ICE. All those we've tried those lawsuits before, and they've been thrown out of court. based on standing. So it's very difficult. It's sad. Congress, one of the things that I believe the Goodlatte bill does in the House is it allows for standing in such cases. So it would hold these sanctuary jurisdictions accountable.
Yeah, we've heard that before. It's amazing because that alone, we as we've said before on our program, I think that alone would probably really reverse a lot of these sanctuary state and sanctuary city policies because they wouldn't want to be liable. Because they certainly are. I mean, morally culpable, I would say, even if they're not legally culpable for the crimes if they're letting these people loose. But I guess we'll have to see if the Goodlatte bill ever gets passed. I don't know. There's another thing that I wanted to ask you about, Dale, and I've heard this from a couple of different callers on our show, and I think maybe you're the person to ask to answer this for us. A lot of people are concerned that the fact that these criminal illegal aliens who've committed a crime here, they're given lighter sentences and they're deported instead of being held in our jails. And once they're deported, then they just come back into the country and end up committing another crime. Is there any way that, why does this happen? Isn't there a way that we can basically just hold them in our jails? It seems kind of foolish if we have this, Swiss cheese border where we don't have any border security, we don't have a wall. Obviously, they're just going to come back.
Yeah, well, actually, that's the way the system is supposed to work, and that's what federal law envisions. And that's part of this lawsuit that the United States is bringing against California. The United States is alleging that we turn over people to state jails, criminal justice systems, to pay the penalty for crimes they've committed locally, state and locally. And then once they're done serving that term of, their jail time, we want you to turn them back over to us so that we can deport them. But what's happening in California is they are being they're serving their sentence in California, and then California is letting them go out into the streets, refusing to turn them over to the feds. So actually, we do have a system where people are supposed to pay the penalty for a crime here, state and locally.
But I guess I think the concern was, and maybe this is they got it incorrect. The concern was that we are giving them too light of sentences. We should just hold them in our jails anyway. I mean, like repeat offenders. Is there any sense of that, or is that just overstating it?
Yeah, they should be punished according to whatever crime they committed. So, I mean, if it's murder, they should receive what a citizen would receive for the crime of murder. Any other crime. I don't think they're getting lighter sentences. I don't think we're trying to lighten their sentence so that we can get rid of them quicker. I think that they are being sentenced, the same as a citizen or a legal permanent resident would be.
Okay.
But as far as crime goes, I mean, there is this cry out in California that, you're picking up people who, the only thing that they've done is they're in the country unlawfully. I mean, that's not true. Holman has provided statistics that 9 out of 10 illegal aliens that have been picked up have criminal convictions on their record or some kind of criminal history. But even so, this argument that illegal aliens are otherwise law-abiding citizens is bogus and not to be believed. It's not true. We have a myriad of laws, federal criminal laws on the books that your average everyday illegal alien is breaking. False statements, identification document fraud, misuse of Social Security number, marriage fraud, improper entry, willful failure of an alien to register, failure to carry alien registration document. Every alien in the United States, if you're not a citizen, if you're even a legal permanent resident, that means you have a green card, you're supposed to carry your green card with you everywhere. Well, guess what? Illegal aliens don't have cards, so they're committing a crime just by, their everyday life. So, this notion that the administration is draconian and being harsh on people and deporting people that who are otherwise law-abiding is just false.
You know what, Dale? I as usual, I want to thank you for coming on the show and explaining all of these complex issues for us. And we look forward to seeing where this thing is going to go. Do you think that it's going to go all the way to the Supreme Court, this lawsuit against California?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, The United States had to file this thing in the Eastern District of California. So how do you think that's going to go? And then if the United States loses, they get to appeal to the Ninth Circuit. Once again, we kind of know this story. We've seen it before. The United States will certainly appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. And just like I would expect, just like during Obama's tenure, with the Arizona versus United States case, the Supreme Court would take it up. It's such an important case, and I'm confident they would rule in the United States' favor.
Thank you so much, and I encourage all of our listeners to check out your website for the Immigration Reform Law Institute. That is IRIL.org, or excuse me, IRLI.org. We have linked to it. We have linked to it in our preview of tonight's show, so all the folks can check it out. Thank you so much, Dale, and I appreciate you coming on the show this evening.